quick before I get into the video. You guys, if you guys watch the review videos, you guys already know what, or may know what I'm about to say. However, every single day, I I continue to gain more and more confidence, more due to having more and more clarity about my model. Every single day, it feels like I'm just getting closer and closer and closer and closer, regardless of win or loss. And like I said, if you watch my reviews, you'll see this, how this is continued to compound. Now, I'm not just saying this because it's a winning trade. Don't get me wrong here. I've been saying this for the past 5 days, ever since I started reviewing. Even on the losing trading days, I'm still gaining more and more confidence about the fact that I will succeed. I'm a lot closer than I think. But that's not false confidence. That's the only difference. It's confidence backed by action, backed by data. You see where I'm going with this? However, another thing that also continues to make me feel more and more confident is the fact that based upon what I'm genuinely reviewing, or based upon what I'm reviewing, I'm genuinely learning and applying it immediately. I'm not hesitating to apply it. If you guys look into Monday's losing trade, you guys will see I applied what I learned throughout the week and into Monday. If you guys look into yesterday's trade, you'll see I applied what I learned from Monday's losing trade into Tuesday. If you look at today's trade, today I applied exactly what I learned from yesterday into today's trade and executed perfectly. So let's break down the trading day. Then I want to break down what I did amazingly, because today was an A++ day. This was a day that truly reciprocates how I intend to trade. My goal on how I intend to trade from here on out. Now, does that mean I always will? No. I'm not fully situated. I don't think I'm at the point yet where I'm fully situated with, one green day, two losing days, to where I've made a permanent shift. Not yet. Am I on the right track? Yes. But another thing I want to mention is, I was just talking with ChatGPT and I said, it's crazy because this week would have been a new record week of all time. I would have probably been up almost 2.5, almost 3 grand on the week across 4 accounts. I would have been up $12,000 this week if it weren't for my two first initial losses. However, I stopped and took a second. I'm like, okay, well, holy hindsight. And I thought about it and I said, well, that's true. But if I would have won those 2 trades, I wouldn't have refined my model to where it is now. I wouldn't have refined my scaling in mechanic. I wouldn't have refined my draw and liquidity mechanic. I wouldn't have refined what I actually classify as a proper draw and liquidity to target. I wouldn't have, refined and, fully classified my premature entries, my low probability, trades that are causing leakages within my model. If I would have won those trades, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now. So I guess that's a good mindset, perspective shift. But yeah, I'm just proud of myself for the fact that I'm genuinely learning. For so long, it's felt like I've just been stagnant in my trading, and the only way to have figured out more was just based upon, just trade and trade and trade, and eventually you'll figure it out. However, reviewing is truly refined and is changing my trading for the better. But let's get into the trading day. Why did I not short? Why did I end up taking longs? How did I scale? How was the timing of my entry? How was the confidence going into the trade idea? Everything. So, starting off, market open, we had these 2 internal lows and had internal liquidity up here, resting in low resistance liquidity. And you could see market open, we ended up SMTing off these lows, continuing higher, strong displacement higher. I thought we would just continue higher on the day, potentially get a short to the downside. However, upon consolidating, after taking out these highs, a lot of people, myself included, seen price action sweep out liquidity. I thought we were going to continue lower from this point. However, we ended up SMTing off of these lows. Now the question may be, why didn't I short these? Why didn't I short this to internal liquidity? And this is why. simply based upon what we learned with our draw on liquidity. I wrote lower probability due to draw on liquidity. Due to internal rules, no stacked internal liquidity, low resting liquidity. For a target, this is trading from the external of this internal range to the external of this internal range. Lower probability. That's what we learned on Monday, based upon Monday's loss. So, skipped out on that trade. I was fine with that. I wasn't willing to allocate my risk toward that based upon, how I've been reviewing my trading recently. Now, will that change at times? Maybe, maybe that may cause me to miss some trades in the future. I'm not sure. We'll deal with those once those come. However, price action ended up SMTing off these lows, continuing to hold it. Now, a lot of people would have seen this and been like, why in the world would you even execute long during this time when price action looks like this and then goes to look like this? To me, this looked like, us very, very clearly coming back down, taking out internal, looking to reverse higher, having already been, bullish on the day, already having resting low resistance liquidity up here. We've seen that change in state of delivery executed, that micro shift, change in state of delivery was here, but micro shift executed. This is how the trade idea looked. SL below this low. Originally looking to target low hanging fruit. However, once I seen price action continuing to displace higher, I was like, it looks probable for us. And once I seen how the higher time frames were developing, like the 15-minute, I was like, okay, hey, it looks probable enough for us to target these internal range highs. So that's what we did. Scaled in one additional contract. The old me would have scaled in right as we seen this first initial displacement candle at 956. I would have scaled in something like this. We had news data release. I totally forgot about that. That was my fault. However, continue to hold through news. Due to me not scaling in, I didn't feel any pressure about, news really. But once news displaced back to the upside, I rolled it out as confluence below this wick low that it'd be valid to scale in based upon my new mechanics, to prevent me from getting trailed out. Scaled an additional contract, look to target these highs, and then scaled in an additional one right here. There were only 2 scaled in entries today. Had it below the wick low, looking to target these highs. So, and let's go through all the images so we can see my thought process throughout everything. This is how the trade idea originally looked. Unfortunately, there was no live trade today. I should have done it, but I didn't. I was like, I'll just do them spontaneously. This is how price action looked. I wrote the old me would have already scaled in, however, based upon our new rules, blah, 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 right? Price action retraced. This was the potential idea when I was looking to scale. I was like, okay, well, we have a prominent wick low. We could probably keep it below this. We displace higher, blah, blah, blah. Scaled in one contract. Our risk did get open, $170 risk. However, this would have been our only trade idea on the trading day. And then later as price action continued higher, took out those internal low-hanging fruit, internal range highs. That's when I scaled in again. I was like, hey, we have strong displacement. We can continue higher. And then now we have this. So, amazing trading day. 10 out of 10 trading day. I need to move all of these images to a different thingy-mabob. Because I still want to journal the fact that I chose to not take this short due to how messy it was looking. But yeah, good trading day. I could care less about the P&L. I'm more glad with the fact that we're genuinely learning. I think for so long I've had like this fear in my trading that I'm not actually progressing forward, and I just think I am when I'm really not. But me making these videos for you guys, even though they're genuinely for me, it's helping give me clarity within my trading model. But yeah, any sort of improvement that I make will be attributed to those videos 100%. But yeah, the main focus from here isn't to get bubbly because of a winning trade or whatnot. It's to continue to I wouldn't say stay focused, but continue to learn, review, and apply what we learn immediately. And even if we do make some losses, let's say we go on a mini losing streak, whatever the case is, continuing to keep that same ironclad mindset that, hey, we are still reviewing, we are still improving as a trader day by day. And the P&L is something that will take time to catch up, but it will catch up. Okay, anyways, I am going to go play Clash Royale and probably record a review session in like 2 hours, 3 hours. Okay, love you guys. Peace.